We got the present dominator of the coverage of Nebraska football from Husker Online, Sean Callahan. Sean, happy National Signing Day. Your quarterback of the future, Dylan Raiola, is already on campus in Lincoln, but just kind of tell us your early impressions of this class and Matt Rhule now going into year 2.
Yeah, the hay is obviously in the barn for the most part. I think they're going to have one true signee today they add, and then a number of walk-on type additions. But, I think the real story, we'll hear from Matt Rhule today around 3 o'clock Central Time, almost more of a kind of an updated, where are things at with this program. 17 high school freshmen are already here. 6 transfer players are already on campus. So 23 new players have already arrived. And that's what happens when you have these early signing days now in December. A lot of these prospects, have pushed things up where they graduate early, they get here early. So it's going to make spring really exciting. I would not be surprised if the Red-White spring game here in Lincoln on April 27th pushes a sellout, mainly because of a lot of people are curious about a player like Dylan Raiola.
Man, it's going to be an unbelievable spring out there. And what are your realistic expectations? Like, we know that the QB carousel has been spinning at Nebraska for the last year and a half, 2 years, but is Dylan Raiola truly expected to come in and compete for a starting position this spring?
Yeah, I think he is. There were Vegas odds put out. He'd be the overwhelming favorite to be the guy. I mean, Daniel Kalen is here as an Elite 11 freshman as well. But, obviously Raiola possesses just better physical tools right now with where he's at. And then Heinrich Haarberg does return, who started 8 games last year. He won 5 games. He was the winner in all 5 of the other games Nebraska won a year ago. So he'll have to beat out a guy like Haarberg. But I think that's very doable at this point because, Haarberg just – he's. I still think he can help Nebraska. He's an athletic guy that could do some running packages and other things, but they struggled just because they didn't have the quarterback play you needed to win down the stretch in the big games in this league.
And Sean, Dylan Raiola is obviously the crown jewel of this class, but who are some other guys within this top 25 class that kind of get you excited about the direction of Nebraska under Matt Rhule?
Well, you start with Gardner Nelson. I was out at the Polynesian Bowl in Honolulu for the entire week, and just seeing him in that setting, he looked incredible for a kid that played 8-man football. Unfortunately, he's not here for the spring. He'll take part in track. He's finishing up high school basketball. His father is actually the track and the basketball coach at Ainsworth High School here. So he's going to finish his last school year up with his family. But really excited about him. Grant Bricks, number 1 player in Iowa, just a massive human being, big body. They really brought in, I think, a nice offensive line class led by Grant Bricks, but Preston Taumua, the number 1 player arguably in the state of Hawaii, joins his class, and he was at that Polynesian Bowl and really looked good, I thought, throughout the week of practice. They went heavy on the defensive back numbers. Maybe the biggest defensive back class in terms of size Nebraska's ever signed. But when you run a 3-3-5 defense, 5 of your 11 players are in the defensive backfield. When you have that rover position in there, it's kind of like a hybrid safety linebacker. So they did really go heavy in that. And that group would be led by Mario Buford, who is the brother of Marquise Buford, who's already current Husker player.
Sean, the addition of Raiola was obviously big for momentum, but I want to talk about 2025. And Nebraska finishes the 24 class ranked number 24 in the country, respectable, especially with the addition of Dylan Raiola. But there seems to be a little bit more buzz going on. Are the expectations raised a little bit for 2025 recruiting? I mean, is a top 20 class a necessity for Nebraska?
It's just so hard to gauge with numbers and how the numbers will fall. But I think they've got 8 in-state offers out right now. That's a lot for this time of year in a state like Nebraska. So where does it start with those in-state players? There's 2 4-stars in Nebraska. Chase Lofton, a tight end at Millard South, who's got a number of Power 5 offers, and Christian Jones, a linebacker at Omaha Westside. Those would be their top local priorities. Nobody has truly emerged as the quarterback for 2025. Alex Mansky was that guy from Algona, Iowa. He announced his pledge to Iowa State this past week. And, I think Mansky, that's an example of Raiola probably scaring off a guy. Mansky, I think, was really high on Nebraska, but then Raiola coming in, I think it's probably changed his thought process, and he'll play for Iowa State next year, which is right near his home in Algona, Iowa. But you saw them part ways with a receiver yesterday, C.J. Simon, and he announced it as a decommitment, but I look at it as more Nebraska just said, hey, it might be better just to reopen things back up because they're going to be in on better receivers than him with Dylan Raiola. And, they can only take 3 or 4. And that if Raiola has a good freshman year, throws it around well, there's going to be a lot of receivers that want to play. That's why Jamal Banks from Wake Forest picked Nebraska over Michigan and Notre Dame, Wisconsin, and others, because he has seen Raiola throw, and he wants to be a part of the offense with Raiola. Isaiah Nayor from Texas, same reason. So they will, I think, be able to find some really good receivers in this class, especially as things move forward with Raiola.
All right, Sean, well, all eyes will be on Lincoln, Nebraska this spring. QB battle for the ages. Husker Online, you guys do an incredible job of not only covering recruiting, but the team as well. You guys go check them out. Sean Callahan with Husker Online. Thank you for joining our signing day show.
Thanks, gentlemen. Have a good one.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.